Welcome back to Special Stage and to the first round of the 2025 Protyre Autocare BTRDA Rally Series. This is the Malcolm Wilson Rally, and you join us as we await the cars into the final stage of the day, a 7.5 mile blast, the second of the day through Greystoke Forest. Before we get to the leaderboards and the action on the stage, I just want to pay respects to Derek Wilkins, a man who many people in this championship and in the sport know. Father to Nick Wilkins, of course, who passed away, sadly, I believe today. Just seeing the news coming through adds a bit more poignancy to the cause on Ed James' micro kit car as well. When you see that come through, we will mention that again. But thoughts with Nick and the rest of the family. All the best, Derek, and we hope you enjoy some rallying up there in the clouds with the legends. Some performance today then from Myron Evans and Dale Furness. Although at the moment the times on the leaderboard are showing a little wrong, but had a big gap coming into this stage from Gary Pearson in second place with Hannah McKillop alongside. That's in the overall results. The first of the Protyre Autocare BTRDA Rally Series registered crews, Matthew Hurst, Declan Deer in third place on the overall rally. And just flicking back to the fight for the gold star, the silver star and the bronze star here in the BTRDA. Matthew Hurst, Declan Deer lead the way by 17 seconds to Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh, who I have to say, I was wrong earlier. They looked like they were on the ragged edge, which normally doesn't tend to play out as being very fast in one of these modern Rally 2 cars, but indeed they were. They had the same overall time through this stage earlier on when it was stage 5, Greystoke. And as Gary Pearson taking the fastest stage time and driving the car on the absolute limit. But Matthew Hurst, Declan Deer have got the measure of them coming into this final stage. What will happen through here? 17 seconds is a problem, isn't it, if things are going to change? But it's certainly not unheard of. Daniel Sigurdarsson, Astrid Sigurdottir, currently in third place in the BTRDA crews. This is after stage 7, Grisdale North. I said we were in stage 7 earlier, didn't I? We're in stage 8, sorry. Greystoke here. Hopefully that didn't confuse you too much and you're still with us. On the same page, or as much as you were before that anyway. Still waiting for some of the times to come in from Grisdale, so I won't hang too much on those times. David Henderson, Will Atkins are leading the way in the Silver Star, and they've got a heck of a margin in the historic Mark II Escort over Lewis Hooper and Rhys Edwards. Steve Ward and John Millington, the legendary John Millington, a little way off the pace today. Not sure what's happened there. Haven't heard any stories of that. But still hanging on there in 5th at the moment. Nathan Weirden doing well with Benjamin Watts alongside in the Hyundai i20 F2. Just 11 seconds back from the podium positions. The last of those held by Jeff Phelps and Clive Jones in the Escort. But the closest battle at the moment, apart from in that gold star fight, 17 seconds. Would we call that close going into the final stage? No, not with the calibre of drivers we've got. That's a hell of a margin, isn't it? For a 7.5 mile blast through Greystoke. And Elliot knows it well. But you'd argue so does Matthew Hurst. But the closest fight at the moment is in the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star category, where Dylan Fowler-Bishop and Dan Evans have really had a push on in their hard-charging micro to overhaul the lead from our reigning Bronze Star champions, Nigel and Kaz Jenkins, who were absolutely on it earlier, weren't they? 3 seconds the gap at the moment. It's a further 26 back to the second micro. It's a bit of a micro takeover in the Bronze Star today, ahead of the micro challenge, the TCS Celtic micro challenge starting up here in the UK. And the first of our cars bursts into the Lake District sunshine with its new livery as revealed today. rear arch just been caught on something perhaps, but they do also pop off on those. Looks to be in good shape. Other than that, Oliver Waggett, Chris Patterson. Also does a bit of co-driving, does Oliver. One of the Mini Rally Challenge competitors, came second on the SMC stages in the Mini Rally Challenge last year, co-driving for the man in charge, Guy Butler. Also co-drove for Jack Morton on the Mach 1 stages up where my dad was born, actually, in the Mull of Kintyre in Campbelltown in Scotland. Just announced that he's on the Motorsport UK Futures Year 1 programme. I mentioned that earlier. Not entirely sure what that's all about, and I'm not going to put Bonnie Papa, who's with me here, on the spot either, because you've had your head focused on the academy side of things. But Motorsport UK doing some good things to promote the young talent within our sport, and not just the young talent, the talent full stop within our sport, and drivers and co-drivers, which is great to see. And Oliver, one of those. The Mini Rally Challenge, rightly very proud of one of their own doing that as well. Nice line. This section of stage here has caught a number of crews out, not least on our live coverage last year, you may remember. But Jordan Albury and Steve Gardner doing a good job there. It's Jordan's first season in rallying as well. He went off on the ME Rally Sport Showground stages. The second outing was better though, third in class at the Lee Holland Memorial stages last time out before coming here to the Malcolm Wilson. Quite a formidable set of stages to be doing in your first season of rallying, particularly having had an off on your first rally. If you're watching the retirements list, you will see we've got some notable retirements since you and I last spoke. We had a few this morning, but Hugh Hunter has added himself to the list. Colin Blunt as well. If I just flick back, you can go to check the results and arrange the times around how you want to follow the rally. If you go to BTRDA rallyresults.co.uk, a little blip earlier, but apart from that, they've been spot on since then, really. Aha, Bonnie's on the case. Yeah, Viv Hamill gutted there, having to retire at service, the first service after the stage we were in here. Mind you, just very quickly, look at that. We knew Mr. Coolidge was going to throw that angler around the head here. I talked a lot in the build-up to this about AE86 Corollas, having seen one at Cadwell Park last weekend, by the way. And John actually campaigned one of those in the early 90s, you may remember that. But slowly the Anglia got under his skin and we started to see the Corolla less and less. First time we've seen John and Louise and this Anglia on the Malcolm Wilson, though. Mentioned earlier, Anglias did once rule these roads. Back in the 70s, we used to see them quite regularly on the entries for the Lakeland stages, which then became the Malcolm Wilson Motorsport Lakeland stages, and latterly the Malcolm Wilson Rally. Back to just let you know who's on the retirement list. Hugh Hunter, Rob Fagg went off the road then, the stage after this one. The first of the Grisdale stages. Niall Devine, Martin Brady retired at the start of the stage. That's why we didn't see them last time. James McCarville, Darren Martin, Daniel Hurst. Interesting story there. Gutted to see they've retired, but Malcolm Wilson himself in service was trying to help them out. He was sat in the car at one point, and there was a picture of him trying to help them with whatever problem they had on the Fiesta R5. Nice to see. Malcolm still as passionate as ever about his rallying. Dave Head. Steve Head alongside. He was alongside Andy Dugdale in Euro 6 when he won the Malcolm Wilson Rally in 2001. Must seem like a lifetime ago now, 24 years ago. I mean, that's 3 years before you were born, Bonnie. That's mad. Joined today by Bonnie Papa. Just been announced as, for the second year, Motorsport UK Academy co-driver. Have a little chat about that, and a little bit of chat of how you get into doing that kind of stuff, because if you're a young co-driver, you see Freddie Camp and Stephen Spear joining us in that lovely Mark 1 with its Mexico livery. Yeah, we just get a bit of a chat later about how you get into that if you're a young co-driver, wondering how on earth you sort of make it to the heady heights and get noticed enough to be picked up by the Motorsport UK Academy. Let's do that now. Bonnie, second year, you and Robbie are both second year students, shall we say, in the Motorsport UK Academy, which is exciting and well done. How did you get to be on that? Because it's a very small pool of talent that does get the chance.
Yeah, so I've always been interested in motorsport, and I saw the academy and I thought that is incredible. I thought it was sort of the F1 level kind of style, and it was a huge goal. And for so long I've wanted to enter and be part of it, and finally one year I decided, let's just send in an application and see how it goes. And I was ever so lucky to be accepted into the academy and have so many wonderful opportunities to learn. And for this year they have invited me back again for a second year.
Fab, that says a lot about what you must have brought to the academy, and hopefully we'll talk about what you get out of it as well. There's Stuart Bannatyne. Gail White, you came 5th in the 1400S class. You're ever so worried I'm going to walk on that banana of yours, aren't you? I keep getting very close. So it was an application you had to put in. For anybody wondering whether they should put an application in, what did you put on to make yourself stand out? I think we've got a car coming into view, so we'll talk about that in a minute, but just have a think about that. I want to know what you did to make yourself stand out, because I think anybody wanting to follow that route would quite like some tips, Bonnie. Riley Chester, Steve Davies stepping up from the juniors. Still getting some of the times through from that last stage. So Bonnie, what did you do on your application? Give someone that's listening to this a top tip for getting onto the Motorsport UK Academy. What sorts of things is good to put on the old application?
Just qualities about yourself and what you think makes you a good co-driver. And we all have to remember that we're not all the same. We do have certain abilities that make us better in some aspects, and there is other areas where we can work on. I spoke about my experience in the rallying and why I love the rallying. And literally just be honest about yourself. You can even say, you know, I haven't got much experience in this area, but I want to learn. And that's the big thing. It's just all about learning and gaining that experience.
Bonnie joins us here at the Malcolm Wilson Rally before she spends 2 days where the academy kicks off at M-Sport, the home of the Ford World Rally team, and they're doing a 12 car as well from M-Sport on Monday night, which will be interesting. Aidan Gregory, Mark Casey, who have got a lot further than they did last time on this rally, retiring on stage 2 with, I think it was electrical gremlins on the car that year. If you're just tuning in, this is the final stage of the Malcolm Wilson Rally 2025, the first round of the Protyre Autocare BTRDA Rally Series. We will keep you updated with the overall leaderboard, but the narrative we are following today, the story of our live shows, of course, is the BTRDA Rally Series. And coming into this final stage, Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere have had the measure of our reigning champions, Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh. The 3-time Gold Star champion, Elliot, was on a ragged edge, posting an equal fastest time overall through this stage when it was stage 5 earlier in the day. But at the moment, he's second coming into this stage by 17 seconds. Daniel Sigurdarsson, Asta Sigurdottir. I did say we should be watching them very closely this year in the Skoda Fabia. And indeed, they've proved to be very handy today, indeed. Third place at the moment, going into this final stage. Johnny Pickup, Peter King in the 205 GTI. Hello to anybody doing their rally driving at Rally Rides today. A rally school that we have come to know and love very well here at Special Stage. I know you guys usually have us on in the signing on clubhouse. Clubhouse, that makes it sound posh, doesn't it? Ian will be laughing. Thinking of you all today as well with the news of Derek Wilkins. Don't forget, if you do get involved on this live stream in any way, shape or form, just comment on our Facebook, our YouTube or specialstage.tv on the stream. We will enter you in a draw to win the Money Can't Buy Rallying is Life Special Stage hat, new for this year. Ashley Morris, Matthew Badley, a bit of damage to the driver's side of that car. I'm not sure. I'm just having a look on the leaderboard coming into... No times for Ashley coming into this that I can see on there. Clearly a little bit of damage. There's Ian Jemison in the Porsche Boxster. Does sound good, doesn't it? Dean Kellett alongside. The pair first sat together in the Chevette, which Ian Jemison was well known for, particularly in the Yorkshire area in 1989. Heady days, yeah, no results are there yet. Times from stage 7 for some of these competitors coming through. So we have to go back. Excuse me while I do a bit of housekeeping and arrange my results in an order where I can actually be interesting to see the title fight come through this final stage. 3 seconds in it between Dylan Fowler-Bishop and Dan Evans in the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star category. Nige and Kaz Jenkins, the crew, 3 seconds behind. Ian Hildreth, Sarah Wetton alongside Mark Casey, who you saw in the Fiesta ST, with Aidan Gregory. Actually sat in with Ian Hildreth on his first Malcolm Wilson rally when they did course car. Sarah now Ian's regular co-driver. Inside that Mark II. Some fast times from both the Micras today, but particularly for Dylan Fowler-Bishop. And Dale Glover, delighted to say we're about to see the Alpha Sud into the final stage here at the Malcolm Wilson Rally. They've obviously been busy over the winter getting that thing shipshape and reliable. I don't want to talk too soon. At the moment, 4th place. Rob Evett, Richard Wise, currently the only runners in the Class RSB. Nicely sideways around there, that's what we like to see. Just missing Giles Armitage and Josh Rhodes actually in the 205 GTI. But Tom Harrison and Marcus Pomfrey, who were throwing that Escort around in this morning's Greystoke stage, weren't they, on the live camera here. Came 4th in B10 last season. That's why it lost power on stage 6, Giles Armitage. That's why we've lost him. He wasn't on my notes for the retirement. Yeah, to explain Class RS, A and B, if you're looking at the class structure, this is the new Motorsport UK class structure. It's designed to make the classes a little easier to understand in that they are supposed to be adopted by championships and rallies. I'm yet to see that actually happen this year. The East Riding stages in particular was a bit confusing. It was opposite to the Motorsport UK classes and therefore the championship rules as well. But this rally has adopted it, albeit it doesn't align with the championship completely. Will Armitage, Jeremy Pole there, crashed on stage 6 on last year's Malcolm Wilson rally, and we'll be hoping not to go the same way as their other car in the team, the 205. Looking for a better season, actually, Will said to me. Finished only half of the events he did last season, although second in the B11 class to finish the year was not a bad way of going on. So RSA is rally start, so it's basically rally first or road rally cars. So that's why you've got RSA and RSB. So Rob Evett's car, not quite a 1400C, the rally first spec. at the moment the only competitor, and that's where we need to encourage a few more of the Rally First Spec cars back to this and other series as well. Dave Peters, Andrew Richards there in the Escort. BTRDA rallyresults.co.uk to remind you. First round of the season is always interesting from a championship perspective. Pretty much everything we thought would come true has so far today, namely that the Bronze Star would be a close battle right from the off, as you see Paul Rawson and Mike Curry through in their Escort. The Gold Star has some new runners and riders this season, and we knew Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere would be looking to make their mark right from the start, and they are. And Elliot Payne, Patrick Walsh delighted to say they're back for another championship charge. We weren't sure if they would. 3 on the trot, looking to make it 4. But they're not going to have it all their own way this weekend. Gary Pearson has put in consistently fast times, and indeed he was fastest overall on the last stage as well. Right down north. As you see, Geraint Williams and Liam Jones switching from doing largely single venues most recently in the Nova to a full BTRDA campaign. Ashley Morris's time for stage 7 has come through. Third in Class F at the moment through that stage. Yeah, but 7th on the overall leaderboard in the class at the moment. It was the 3rd place stage in the class. Time in the stage, sorry. Steve Ward and Mike Crawford, who in his garage has an Escort twin cam, an Alpine A110, and that glorious, almost camel livery, isn't it? Subaru Legacy. The sound of Group A. Surely this is the year. I said last year that 2024 was the year of the rally car. It certainly was, and I also said that Group A would start to gather momentum, and it surely did. But we need a bit more momentum, and at the moment the impetus just not there, with the cars not able to score overall championship wins in the British Historic Series. That's when it will really start to gather momentum. But here in the BTRDA Historic Cup, those cars can indeed take the honours. So Baz Jordan and Steve Ward at the moment holding up Group A honours and just giving us a flavour. And Ian Joel, sorry, although it is a B13 spec car, that Escort Cosworth these days. These guys have been on it whenever we've seen them today, haven't they? Lee Cooper, Jamie Butch-Wilson alongside in the BMW Compact. And the only cars in the over 1400 category of the Rally Start class, Rally Start A. So they obviously lead the way in the class at the moment. Rob Everett, Richard Wise are in B, which is for up to 1400 in the Rally Start class. If you're just tuning in, welcome to our live coverage here on Special Stage. I'm Paul Woodford, and I'm also joined by Motorsport UK Academy co-driver Bonnie Papper. We've got coverage here from the final stage of the day for the opening round of the 2025 Protyre Autocare BTRDA Rally Series. It is the Malcolm Wilson stages, and it is the final stage of the day, and you will be forgiven for thinking, if you're watching this in sometime in the future, that this rally took place midway through spring or even in the summer. With that beautiful sunshine up there, but no, it is the middle of, well, it's the beginning of March, isn't it? In the UK, and we are in the north of England, and it is normally snowy and wet and cold and horrible, but it's actually beautiful. It's actually warm. We're all too warm, but I won't say that. It's perfect rally conditions. It started wet and grimy, so the stage isn't dusty. We're not getting covered in dust, but we're now all warm and happy. Ernie Lee, Patricia Lee, alongside, just outside the top 5 in the championship order at the end of 2024 in that BMW 3 Series. John Woodward and Kevin Eichen in the Honda-powered Mark II. There was a period of time, wasn't there, when people were sticking Honda engines and everything, Minis, Pumas, Escorts. Doesn't seem to be quite the in thing anymore. Richard Milliner is currently second in the class in his Fiesta R2, the boss of the Ford World Rally team, based at M Sport, just at Duffenby Hall up in Cockermouth, just a little bit up from where we are here. Taking a bit of a busman's holiday away from his World Rally Championship duties. And in a bit of a no man's land in that position at the moment. 23 seconds the gap to Christina Robinson out in front, who you see here in the Peugeot 208. Just immense. So much noise and theatre from those Peugeot 208s. Christina Robinson leading Class D at this point. Richard Milliner just behind them. Riley Chester doing a great job in third in the class, stepping up. We've seen him through already for this final stage, stepping up for the first year from the Junior Championship. So Class D in the new Motorsport UK class structure is all homologated FIA Rally 4 and R2 cars with forced induction. So they're all the 1 litre cars, the 3-cylinder turbo cars. You might be doing a 12 car in one of those, you never know. I don't know what cars you'll be given to do are they M Sport cars that you do the 12 car in on Monday night?
I have absolutely no idea. I just know we're doing a 12 car on Monday.
You're on the same journey as me. You better start just polishing up on your knowledge of tulips and herringbones and spot heights, and make sure you've got the right map and everything else ready to go. What a number of Mini Rally Challenge competitors joining us in the championship this year. Gareth Humphries, Aaron Mallin alongside. Fast crew in the Mini Rally Challenge in 2024, and we're looking for more of the same as well from a series which has grown phenomenally thanks to the work of Guy Butler, Julia Perry and the others working behind the scenes. You just had to see the scale of the end of year awards to know how much excitement there is around the series, but then you see the entry for the first round of their championship, given that it's had to move as well, and there were 30 odd cars signed up for the Mini Rally Challenge. It is a growing phenomenon, but the question is how long before those at the moment cheap cars and the parts that go with them are cheap start to go up in value because the popularity goes up. That's always the tipping point. It's always the issue. You look at all of the challenge cars over the years. Arguably, Nissan Micras are still fairly cheap if you can find the parts. But the K11 Micra doesn't rust like some of the cars of its generation, so you still tend to find quite a few salvage yards that have got panels and various bits in, which is why the Micra Challenge makes so much sense as well. But at the moment, the Minis are just ruling the roost because the cars are so plentiful. The parts are in such good supply. Even I've been at Spark Developments a lot over the last 6 months, and you know, their parts room of bits that they've stripped off cars is just huge. You know, they could run the championship parts supply for many seasons to come, just based on what they've amassed. That's what makes these one-make series so popular and successful. Arguably, that could be one of the downfalls for the MG3 trophy, which I really hope will gather a bit more pace, and I wish had been a bit more successful than it has. But there's cars out there be cheap. I don't think. Steve Corky Ward, John Millington, as I say, a little bit off the pace. Down in 5th at the moment in the Silver Star leaderboard in the BTRDA cruise. John Millington knows these stages so well. He is a legend in the sport and knows this area very well too. But he used to do all the notes on the tests here with the works guys when he was head of logistics and operations for M Sport. But that fact I read you earlier about Steve Ward is just phenomenal. 1976, the Lakeland Rally, which is what this rally used to be, came 2nd overall to Malcolm Wilson with Tony Drummond and David Stokes close behind. Just amazing. Dave and Jamie Forrest. Funny seeding for the Strasser Porsche pair in the Mark II. Been running ahead of order all day. So if you're just tuning in, we are running front to back reverse seated order for the 2-wheel drive field. And up next we'll have the 4-wheel drives in correct seated order. You can get your live results as we go through this final stage from BTRDA rallyresults.co.uk. All eyes on the Bronze Star battle, where at the moment Dylan Fowler-Bishop is ruling the roost, 3 seconds ahead of our reigning champions Nigel and Kaz Jenkins. Ashley Francis Adams, who ran that title to the wire in 2024 in 3rd place at the moment. David and Grace Pedley in the Mark II, nicely done, ran his hairpin. Hasn't caught as many people out as I thought it might. Not that that's why we're here. Hello to Vicky, my wife, and the boys, Callum and Toby. Tuned in at home. David Lloyd Thomas, hello to you. What a beautiful afternoon to be in the woods, indeed. Kev Photo enjoyed that legacy through here. Steve Ward's, it's good, isn't it? Michael Jenkins, the 208 sounds so good. It does sound so good, doesn't it? Melanie Capel, Bonnie's mum, says hello from a sunny Isle of Man. Elwyn Pritchard, ideal weather for the James Williams Rally in summer. Chris Bush, Rob Jones, putting on a show for us here. Haven't been as on the pace as they would have liked, though, in that yourbrandhere.org Ignition Motorsport Corsa. Elwyn Pritchard keeps mentioning my James Williams sunglasses. Tell you what, Elwyn, if you can get to the corner we're on in Greystoke by the time we finish the live stream, I'll give you my James Williams rallying sunglasses. How's that for a mission? But like one of those SAS, He Who Dares missions on TV, where they have to make their way across the forest in a certain amount of time. Andrew Shufflebottom, how's the suntan looking for you guys? Mate, we're going to get sunburn in March in a Lake District forest. I never thought I'd be saying that. Jeff Phelps, Clive Jones, 3rd in B11 in the championship last time out. 3rd at the moment in the Silver Star category, coming into this final stage of the day. James Ford, Neil Shanks just sneaking into 5th place in the BTRDA registered cruise after that 2nd run through the Grisdale North stage, 8.99 miles through there. Enough time just about to get into the flow, but not quite enough to make up any serious time. Same with this 7.5 miler. So Elliot Payne, I'm sure, will be on a big push. That's how he does business, but I can't see on merit those times at the top changing around into this final stage, but you just never know. Andrew Fox with Jamie Lee Fox alongside You know, we last saw Andrew register for BTRDA points in 2016. Had pretty much all class podiums that season. Did a great job. Jamie Lee Fox, Chris Butcher's other half. I've known both of those people for years, and I didn't realise until Chris sent me a message saying he'd be servicing for that car, because obviously their Corsa broke earlier, that actually they're a couple and have been for 5 years. Where have you been, Woodford? Lots of couples in rallying. Always nice to see. I'm always amazed when you see successful combinations like Nigel and Kaz Jenkins, for example. You've just managed to, you know, steer away from any major rows inside the car. I think we can all salute that, can't we? Great job, guys. Chris manages it by not actually being in the same car as his other half. That's probably a good way of doing it as well. Oh, do you know what? He's back. Mark Blunt had an alternator failure earlier, so I guess they must be super rallying, because they were on the retirements. I saw a very deflated Facebook post as well from Colin. Good to see them back in the Fiesta ST. Still cracking little rally cars, those M Sport Fiesta STs. And we only have to look at Tim Kirvan Rogers, Stefan Arndt, don't we, on the Anglo-Caledonian, leading on the first day, albeit in conditions that were perhaps more favourable to a very experienced driver in a lower-powered front-wheel drive car in the snow compared to the Rally 2 car of Alan Carmichael behind. But, you know, just wicked cars, still reliable, still look good, and still competitive in the right hands. There's still plenty of them out there as well. Ed James, Kevin Lane alongside, who will today, especially this afternoon, have his mind on other matters, and Derek Wilkins, and is raising money for Prostate Cancer UK. If you go to Ed's Facebook page or the EJM Prep page on Facebook, you can donate if you so wish, or just post a message of support, both of which will be much appreciated. This man's had a good day. Tom Constantine, Tony Walker alongside, switching from the asphalt of the East Yorkshire lanes on East Riding stages to the gravel here on the Malcolm Wilson Rally. At the moment, Tom Constantine, Tony Walker in 5th place in the overall Silver Star leaderboard. I'm just wondering what, oh no, Dave Henderson hasn't come through yet, so that's why we haven't got that completely done yet. Rich Milner, Seb Scott alongside, enjoying his adventure, his busman's holiday, and throwing that little Fiesta R2 around, isn't he? Second in the class, not registered for BTRDA points, but second in Class D. At the moment, behind Christina Robinson in that fantastic sounding Peugeot 208. The second of the 208s, and the second of the Robinsons, Natalie Robinson, sadly retiring, was parked at the start of this stage. Di Roberts alongside. It was on the tracker, wasn't it? And Marshals got a bit confused earlier, Bonnie, thinking that we were going to have car 130. Yeah, stage 3 off the road. Here we go then, the first of the hard charging micros, and indeed, look at that. The one which currently leads by 3 seconds to Bonstar. This is the crucial stage. 3 seconds is not a lot to lose or gain. Dylan Fowler-Bishop will be on a big push through here. That is going to be an exciting ride inside that car for Dan Evans, and he will have to make sure he is absolutely perfect. Bonnie, you've been there. The pressure's on. when you get to a stage where you have got a very small margin and it could go either way and you're in a battle, a lot of that pressure falls down to the co-driver, doesn't it? Because one slip up, often it's mistakes that cost, not the merit of gaining places, and one slip up from the co-driver and it could be a very different story.
Yeah, huge responsibility on the co-drivers, especially this rally today. Grisdale, they've had a very long 2 stages through Grisdale North and South, and they're so busy on the notes, absolutely relentless. So Yeah, big drink of water coming into this stage. Make sure your throat's all nice and ready, nice and relaxed, and make sure you're nice and clear on them notes.
There you go. Dan Evans won't need those tips, but he's watching this back. I'm sure he'll be nodding along. Barry Lindsay, Caroline Lodge have had a good day in the 206 Cup car. Been here for some time, I'm sure. I remember Barry doing the Malcolm Wilson back in the day. I haven't got it written down on my notes. So Dylan Fowler Bishop, Dan Evans are through then, the first of the top 3 challengers here in the Bronze Star. Really exciting to see that so close at this first round. Ashley Francis Adams, Mark Ammond in the second of the Micras. 2 Micras in the top 3. Interesting times. It used to be all Novas, didn't it? And Protons as well. Don't have any Protons here today. But we did see Roger Priestnell and Jamie Forrest back in action in that lovely Super 1600 or Super 1400 as it is now. Proton Satria kit car, the ex-Works car. We saw them on these riding stages and we'll hopefully see them at Cadwell Park as well. Rob Dennis, Andy Boswell, making a neat job of the hairpin here. Not easy, you're coming in hot and the surface is a little cut up. It's not as bad as I remember it being on previous events, but the weather's been favourable, hasn't it? But it's an uphill hairpin, and uphill hairpins, particularly in a 2-wheel drive car and with the loose on the outside, is in the sun. Yeah, as producer Wayne points out, the sun's right in their eyes as well, quite low in the afternoon sky here as they come into the hairpin. So it's quite a job to get it right, and particularly when there's a live camera. Can always add a little bit of jeopardy in if they know it's here and they can see us as well. As soon as they come through that clearing in the trees, and some of them will have been watching us in the start queue as well, so they'll know where we are. Those that want a little wave or a bit of showboating might even have put it in the notes. Look at that. LAR 201T Allied Polymer Mark II. Lee Ashbury, Ian Jones in the historic class. I love that Lee brings these cars out to play, and fair play to anybody who brings even your average rally Escort is worth a lot of money these days, but fair play to anyone who brings a Works car out or an ex-Works car and uses it for the purpose of which it was built. Just waiting now then, we've had our Bronze Star leader. Here is 3rd place, Ashley Francis Adams. This is the car that was pushing our Bronze Star champions all the way to the final stage. Mark Ammons looks deep in concentration. Calling those notes, they are 26 seconds behind. 2nd place at the moment, 29 off the lead. But if the other two make a mess of one corner, go a bit wide, half spin, worse still, a puncture or something more sinister, there's a haul of points up for grabs from all 3 of those positions in the championship at this opening round. It's a great way to open your account as well. So 2 of our top 3 in the Bronze Star are through in this very fast 2-wheel drive field here today on the Malcolm Wilson. We're just awaiting that burst of green as the reigning champions come into view. But first, here's 4th place at the moment, Dale Glover. Andrew Smalley alongside, David Smalley, sorry, alongside in the Alpha Sud. a fair way back at the moment in fourth, and a fair old buffer as well to Geraint Williams and Liam Jones, who we saw through in the Orange Nova as well, in fifth. So fairly safe, I would say, in that position as far as times go. But it will be a nervous 3.8, 3.9 miles from here to the end of the stage, because that Alpha has been notoriously unreliable, and it just might be that they've found a bit of reliability. Tim Rogers sending me messages that I can't read out on air. Not very clever, Tim. Imagine if I'd just read that out. It wasn't anything really bad. I think I can hear a high revving Vauxhall Nova. It's not often that the two-wheel drive field has the Bronze Star leading competitors, with still quite a few cars to go on the entry before we get to the four-wheel drives. It just shows the quality of the entry here today, with the historic cars slotting in after the front-running two-wheel drive 1400s. David Henderson and Will Atkins, to remind you, in their historic Escort, are doing what they set out to do, and doing what they did in four-wheel drive as well, and leading the way. It wasn't a high revving Nova that I could hear, unless that's on a separate piece of the stage. I just love that livery. Nick Kitching, Steve Pugh. In that white and red Cossack liveried RS 1800. It sounds as good as it looks, but can't believe more people haven't stuck the white livery on, actually. Normally you get the black and white livery, but the early white livery is something special indeed, isn't it? Remember the first time when I was a youngster, the first time I saw the white livery was on a Trofu model, the 1/43rd scale Escort model, you know those, and I remember thinking, oh, they haven't got that quite right, because I was so used to seeing, you know, the 76, the 78 car, the car. In the livery you see so often. Lewis Hooper, Rhys Edwards, second place in the Silver Star, coming into this final stage. A big gap. But they've also got one eye on the R2 Rally Cup, which, with that performance, they will also take maximum points away with today at the opening round, if they can keep it going. The big fight, I suppose, that we're looking for in the Silver Star will be Nathan Weirden and Jeff Phelps, although we haven't seen Nathan Weirden through the stage yet. Let's see what he can do. 11 seconds, the gap at the moment. Taking a podium in the Silver Star on his first time in that F2 Hyundai i20 that the legendary BRC Formula 2 driver Neil Weirden's dad has developed to be as close to those F2 cars that we all know and love. Would be quite a good day in the forests, wouldn't it? Brian Jardy, Declan Campbell, who came third in the B10 class and have had just as good a day here in the Malcolm Wilson Rally in 2025. Yeah, 11 seconds is still a lot to make up in 7.5 miles, but it's not a lot if the car in front has a bit of a bad stage and you're on point. So the key is to make sure, as Bonnie Papa said, you're on point, and the co-driver is doing everything he or she can do to make sure that that performance is as polished as possible as you head towards the final time control of the rally. If you're just tuning in, this isn't an archive. I know Wayne Goldring of Special Stage does like his archive videos. This isn't an archive video of when the Malcolm Wilson Rally was once held in early August. This is the Malcolm Wilson Rally, starting our season off here in the Protyre Auto Care BTRDA Rally Series, and it is the beginning of March, and we're not freezing our whatnots off or slipping on snow and having to scrape the windscreen before we leave the hotel. This is early March and we are warm, too warm, and absolutely glorious day to be out in the forests, as a number of you have said, joining us on the live coverage. Remember, those of you who are here, get entered automatically in the draw to win one of those hats. Rallying is Life coming on board again to be our clothing partner here at Special Stage. Roy Hatfield helping with my nerdery. HHJ700N was the first Cossack sponsored Escort for Roger, which is the livery that we see on Nick Kitchen's lovely Mark II there. Michael Callows watching from the Isle of Man. Lovely to have you with us. Steve Johnson, yeah, 76 black stripes, 75 white stripes. There we go. Steve currently in hospital in Lincoln. Wishing you a speedy recovery, Steve. Looking forward to doing your 12 car at Border Motor Club once you're out. Jason Taylor, question, can I do a road rally or a 12 car in a diesel turbo? Question is yes, but with caveats. As long as it's 1500, at the moment, as long as it's 1500 or below, you can do it on a road rally, but you can pretty much use anything on a 12 car as long as you make sure that the car is running whatever tyres and specific regulations are required for that particular club's 12 cars. So, for example, the 12 cars I do, I'm doing in a 1.6 supercharged Mini Cooper S. I couldn't at the moment, that may change in the near future, but at the moment I couldn't do that, do a road rally in that car. But I can't use knobbly tyres, can't use forest tyres or Motorsport UK, certain tyres on the list for a 12 car in my neck of the woods. You may be different. Listen to that. Listen to that. Baz Jordan, Arwell Jenkins. A top 10 in the Historic Cup in 2024 and a return to sponsor the series this year. The Jordan Road Surfacing Historic Cup. Hello to Alan Edwards, watching along with us. Craig Simkis says he wishes he was here. Tony Robinson enjoying the coverage. Lovely day for it. Gutted he couldn't get into the forest for this one. Calvin Holsworth, loving watching. Missing not doing it. We're missing not having you here, mate. There's a theme here. Everyone's watching the coverage and thinking, I'd really like to be there. I wonder if you'd all be thinking that if it was lashing down with rain. Of course you would. Of course you would. Best wishes to Simon Bowen, who sounds like has had an operation, which is why Craig Simkis isn't out for a while. Quite sure. James Coxon throwing that little Sunbeam TI around. So Chris Bush and Robert Bryn Chicken Jones, the second of the Ignition Motorsport cars, stopped in this stage. They came past us. John, it did sound a little ropey, didn't it? I just thought they were absolutely kicking his butt. And who else have we lost in here? Yeah, I think he has. You're right. He had his arm out the window, yeehawing it. Oh no, James Grattan Smith and Tom Jordan have stopped in stage 8. They haven't come past us yet in that Nissan 350Z. So yeah, they're about a mile into the stage. Gutted if you looked on the tracker. Ah, no. I was looking forward to seeing that through. As much as Baz Jordan rang me and he was having a bit of a joke about the weird choice of car, I was actually quite enjoying watching it through. It was quite good, wasn't it? Nathan Cotton is cheering on Nigel and Kaz Jenkins. That's car 112, isn't it? They will be next on the road. We will see them very shortly. John, I always forget we've got a tracker, and I'm like, I wonder what's coming up next. I'm juggling enough things as it is, and I haven't got my second screen. Dawn Weaver tells Sam Leonard this will be us soon. What's the story there then, producer Wayne? Hang on. What's happening here?
Dawn is Sam's driving instructor.
Oh, right, okay. Brilliant. That's an interesting... So we look forward to seeing you out on the stages, Dawn. And we just got producer Wayne on the live coverage. Here we go. It's a big fight. And a big last dash push for our Bronze Start champions. Can they do what they need to do and overhaul that pesky Nissan Micra, as they will be saying, of Dylan Fowler-Bishop and Dan Evans to take maximum points here at the first round? We'll find out in a matter of minutes. Hello to Michelle Petrie, enjoying the coverage, catching up from home. Michael Jenkins watching with the kids. Fleur and Seb also missing the rallying. Not missing Jordan singing inside the car though, I'm sure. Simon Bevan watching from Mid-Wales. Mark Brown is chilled watching at home in Devon. And Carl Griffiths is having a great day at Grisdale South. Big shout out to all of the Marshals today. It's a lovely day to be out in the forests, but that doesn't detract from the fact that this army of volunteers will be clearing down the stage long after we're all home and enjoying a cold beer. There we go, the F2 Hyundai i20 does look good when it comes at you from the front, doesn't it? It's a very mean looking machine. Long before Hyundai had returned to rallying in its current generation. Neil Weirden, works driver in the Formula 2 era. And one of my rally heroes was developing that car. I remember meeting him for the first time, being quite starstruck at Three Sisters. Amazing what sport can do, isn't it? Being starstruck to meet a middle-aged bloke in a Hyundai at a kart track in Wigan. That's what this sport does for you. Nathan Weirden was a young lad just clinging to the railings, just watching Dad in the car and just hoping, he said to me last night, just hoping that he could do the rally one day in that car. And he has. He's cut his teeth in a Fiesta ST, and I think cutting his teeth is understating it somewhat. So we're just all eyes. See Baz Wheeler, John Pickervance through in the RS 1800, all eyes on that time for Kaz and Nigel on refresh. They were 3 seconds coming into this stage, weren't they? That's the gap at the moment. The question is, after 8, Greystokes 2, no time yet. Dylan Fowler-Bishop, Dan Evans in first. Ashley Francis Adams, Mark Ammons showing as second. Where will the NJ Auto Repairs championship winning, twice championship winning supernova of Nigel and Kaz Jenkins drop in when that time comes through from the end of this stage, just under 4 miles on from where we are right now? I'm refreshing madly, just waiting for that time to come in. I love this point of the rally. They are still on the stage. Bonnie spoiling the magic by pointing out very scientifically that they're not going to get a time yet, because they are indeed still in the stage. David Hutchinson, Jeff Garnett, interesting livery on that Mark II. Pushing on there as well. Back of the car just leaping around on those slight yumps, which haven't really been yumps for anyone else so far, coming out of this hairpin. Not that I've noticed anyway. The sun really is quite low in the sky there, and you can see some of the drivers just holding their hand up as they're heading into this. We're very British, aren't we? We'd be complaining if it was raining. We'd complain if the sun's a bit low and in our eyes. And just look at that. It's not been a day he was looking for in the Silver Star necessarily. Ben Jemison. But just listen to that thing sing. Rob Dennis has gone well throughout the day. He's just sort of crept up there on the leaderboard. Still waiting for David Henderson through. But at the moment, Tom Constantine doing enough for second in the Silver Star with Tony Walker alongside. Go on, put me out of my misery. Bonnie is. Is the green Nova through the stage yet? Nearly.
Yeah, so close, I just keep refreshing.
Yeah. So Stefan Stouff. What a lovely machine that is. Guy Weaver alongside, knows his way around these stages. Rather large Queen Bumblebee just hovering about near the edge of the hairpin, just enjoying the sights and smells of rally cars. Not much nectar to be had there. And you know what? Not much smell either. Someone shared a post the other day on Facebook or Instagram, can't remember which, with a picture of a can of Castrol R40. And oh my goodness, I was transported back to being a kid. I do wish they'd make cars smell like they did when they were burning just a little bit of Castrol R, don't you? This man won't mind what the car's burning, as long as it keeps him propelled forward in the manner to which he has today become accustomed. That is some drive from David Henderson. Will Atkins alongside in that historic spec Escort, a move that we all thought was a little odd. Obviously financially we can understand it, moving from a Rally 2 car to a historic, but he was winning overall rallies and, you know, consistently fighting for podiums on some of the top rallies in the country in a Rally 2 car, and he switched to a historic car, and today leads the Silver Star category at the opening round of the Protyre Autocare BTRDA Rally Series, and I think if he hasn't already, and arguably he has, just look at the podium from the Anglo-Caledonian. The last time we saw Henderson in 2024, he has proved a point today. Was that a little wave from Dan Petrie there? I think it might have been Paul Barrett. Dan Petrie, that's some seat for Dan today. Right, I'm refreshing.
They're through the stage, but I can't get to them.
We're just waiting for the time now for Nigel and Kaz Jenkins. Don't spoil it with science, Bonnie. We're building up. We've got some theatre going on here. Typical co-driver. Well, there's no point talking about it until we've got the time through, is there? No, but we're building up to it. This is the opening round. It is the first tussle we've seen, and it's the closest battle we've had today as well. As we come through these final few miles, this final 7.5 miler through Greystoke. In fact, the whole day's been about building up, hasn't it? And the short stages earlier on, 2 and 3 miles apiece before they hit the first Greystoke stage, and then 2, 8 and 9 respectively mile stages through Grisdale before heading back here into Greystoke for this rally closer. My goodness, the times are teasing us here, as you see. Steve Bannister, Callum Atkinson. I just knew that was going to be wonderful, because coming in to set the car up, Steve's elbows were already up at the window and his hands were ready on that steering wheel. And he just seemed to effortlessly, I've seen a few, we've got quite a good view here with the sun picking out the detail inside the car. We've got a good view of what the drivers are doing, and I've seen quite a few flailing hands this afternoon, but that was such control inside there from Banner, as you would expect, of course. Oh my goodness, still no time from Nigel and Kaz Jenkins. Have they overhauled that 3-second margin that they came into this stage staring at to take maximum points? Is all very well saying it's the first round. We've got 7 rounds this season. We finish back up here in Grisdale, actually, for the Grisdale stages, as long as Wayne pointed out, we haven't got too much snow, because I think we'll end up having Donington Park the next day. I remember coming back from the Malcolm Wilson to Donington Park, actually, in the March rally, because Donington's next weekend, but it wasn't the same weekend for the last couple of years. And the year before last, when it was so snowy, that was one of the hardest drives I've ever had. The snow, I felt like I was Han Solo driving flying the Millennium Falcon. It was just the snow was coming towards us, just tunnel vision. You just couldn't take your eyes off it. It was really tough. So I hope we haven't got one of those coming up for us later in the year. Still no time for Nigel and Kaz Jenkins, but that is it from the two-wheel drive field. So we're also looking for a time from David Henderson to confirm that he and Will Atkins have taken, indeed, the Silver Star category victory here. At the moment, Lewis Hooper Jeff Phelps and Tom Constantine are your top 3, but we haven't got that time in from David Henderson. We do expect that with the margin that he had out in the lead to remain the case. And we'll come to the overall rally and the 4-wheel drive Gold Star category leaderboards in just a moment. Just wait for these times to drop through and follow this story as it breaks. I'm almost in competition with Bonnie Papa here because she's refreshing her results. I'm refreshing mine. I want to be the first to know, so I'm getting competitive here. And Producer Wayne, I think he's refreshing his as well. You're refreshing your results as you are, aren't you? We're all doing it. We're all sat here competitive at the end of the stage.
I'm so eager to find
Yeah, I'm eager to find out as well because it bodes well. Have we got a time?
the second in class, Nigel in class.
Oh, wow. Just wait for that to confirm. Right, so they took a second out, so that shows just how close and how good a battle that has been today to take a second out. We're pushing through this final stage. What a performance from Dylan Fowler-Bishop and Dan Evans on the opening round of the Protyre Autocare BTRDA Rally Series. They are your provisional Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star winners at round 1 of the championship here at the Malcolm Wilson Rally. An epic battle put up by Nigel and Kaz Jenkins, our two-time and reigning champions. And Ashley Francis Adams, Mark Ammons just managed that gap, didn't they, in the end? Just letting things ebb away a little bit in that final stage. No point pushing it. There's too much to make up on any kind of merit. 26 seconds, so that's grown to a 44-second gap. But you know what? It's Micra's first and third. Good way to establish Micra's in the year the TCS Celtic Micra Challenge comes back to the UK, isn't it? And showing as if we had any doubt that Micras still have what it takes. I'm pleased to say Dale Glover and David Smalley as well in 4th place have given the Alpha Sud its first rally finish of the season. That bodes well too. It'd be nice to see that car and that pair enjoying some reliability. Brian Williams, Liam Jones rounding things off in the top 5 in the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star category in 5th. Just waiting for Henderson and Atkins' time to drop through in the Silver Star, but we do expect David Henderson and Will Atkins to emerge victorious at the first round in the Silver Star category for the 2-wheel drive cars. Lewis Hooper, Rhys Edwards doing everything they need to do as far as the R2 Rally Cup is concerned. Second in the Silver Star, Jeff Phelps and Clive Jones in 3rd place. 2 historic cars then, 1st and 3rd in the Silver Star. Not Ben Jemison's weekend in the Chevette. It looked glorious and it was looking like a fairly good morning, but just dropped back a bit. Don't know if he's had a few issues, but I don't think he'll be overall that pleased with that. But Nathan Weirden and Tom Constantine, between them, have had a cracking day. Nathan taking out, what was it, 11 seconds, did I say the gap was? So he's taken 7 seconds out of Jeff Phelps in the F2 Hyundai through this final stage. Didn't quite take enough to make it a podium finish at the first round, and on his debut in the Formula 2 car. We'll call it a Formula 2 car. This sounds good, it rolls off the tongue. You know what I mean? Yeah, not doing quite enough, but I tell you what, take 7 seconds out in the final stage over, it's a second a mile. So I got that completely wrong then, didn't I? It was Tom's younger brother, Luke Constantine, well, of course it was, doing the East Riding stages. Yeah, they were getting too competitive as a family. Thank you for clearing that up, Mark. And getting to grips with the car on asphalt. Tom getting to grips with it on the gravel. So the sibling rivalry will be dampened somewhat this season. Sounds like he's got his dad hat on there, doesn't it? Just waiting for that time from Henderson, though. We're about to get the 4-wheel drive through. Yeah, David Henderson, Will Atkins, with the gap that they had. It was only a retirement in the last few miles of this stage that would have changed that around. They've taken a very convincing Silver Star victory and historic Cup victory here in the BTRDA. Lewis Hooper taking the R2 Rally Cup victory and 2nd place in the Silver Star. With it Good start to both of their campaigns. And we just saw how the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star category unfolded here across 8 stages in the Lake District for the Malcolm Wilson Rally to open the 2025 season's campaigns. Dylan Fowler-Bishop, Nigel Jenkins, Ashley Francis-Adams, your top 3 in the Bronze Star. We await our 4-wheel drive cruise. And I can hear some cars arriving at the start line. I'm pretty sure. Coming into this stage then, to remind you, on the overall rally leaderboard, Myron Evans leads on what looks to me on this is an identical overall time to Gary Pearson, which is absolutely phenomenal, isn't it? And just they're just 10 seconds back. Matthew Hurst, Declan Deere in 3rd place. The first of our Protyre AutoCAD BTRDA Rally Series competitors. So at the moment, the top step of the podium awaits them. But they've got 7.5 miles through Greystoke. Elliot Payne, 27 seconds behind. 2nd in the BTRDA Cruise, our reigning champ. 3-time champion here in the Gold Star. Youngest ever champion. All the superlatives for the Yorkshireman. The fastest milkman in the BTRDA. Elliot Payne. And don't look at me thinking, are there any other milkmen? Because he was fastest of anybody. So even if there are, I'm still right, producer Wayne. You look like you had that creeping smile on the side of your face that looked like you were thinking of a way to undermine that statement. You can't. Daniel Sigardason, Asta Sigurdsdottir, 3rd place in the BTRDA Cruise coming into this final stage, and a bit of a buffer for them. The times aren't quite as close going back. James Ford just behind him, 4th in the BTRDA Cruise. Liam Clark has had a bit of a rough day. 6th place in the BTRDA Cruise behind Alex Vassallo. And 10th on the overall rally leaderboard. So it's all eyes on the overall fight for the lead, and also on whether or not Matthew Hurst, the leader at the moment in the BTRDA Rally Series here at the opening round, can do anything to encroach on those top 2 up ahead, or whether he and Declan Deere will decide that discretion is the better part of valour. It's not a very rally driver thing to do, but we often do have to do it. We think about it a lot, at least. The strategic management of a rally lead, as opposed to going all out to achieve it in the best and most flamboyant possible way, which overhauling one of those top 2, Gary Pearson and Myron Evans, would be, wouldn't it? Elliot Payne will be on a big charge through here. He was earlier. He was equal fastest through this 7.5 miler of Greystoke with Gary Pearson. And here he is, the 3-time and reigning Gold Star champion. All the extremes there for Elliot Payne. The car literally lurching in the braking zone and then flinging it up the bank, and will be ever so frustrated, I think, to have done that, because he's scrubbed off a little bit of time there and he needs every second he can get. And he also needs Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere to have a few moments of their own through this stage if he's going to overhaul 27 seconds. Nathan Weirden managed to overhaul 7 seconds from Jeff Phelps in the Silver Star. And he was pushing hard. 27 is a tall ask. But as you can see, Elliot Payne, Patrick Walsh are not about to let that characterise their campaign at this opening round. They're pushing right to the end. Gary Pearson now. He knows. He's won rallies here in the BTRDA before. He was our BTRDA rally champion in 2021, as well as being Welsh and Scottish champion that year. His focus this year is on the BRC, but he's here not just to test and shake down on gravel ahead of the Carlisle stages, the next round of the BRC, the first time those crews will have been on gravel, but he wants to win this rally. He and Myron Evans both pushing ever so hard at the front. We'll see that Castrol liveried Yarish Rally 2 with the Melvin Evans Motorsport stable cars, the sister car to the one that won the British Rally Championship last year in the hands of Chris Ingram and Alex Chiorani, taking, I'd say, a season out. I'm sure we'll see Chris at some point this season, but certainly not embarking on a full campaign due to recently becoming a dad. Look at these Matthew Hurst, Declan Deere, almost actually using the bank to their advantage there. Just prodded the car back onto the line, didn't it? They know 10 seconds is doable. They know they've got the pace. We know they've got the pace, but do they need it? That's the question. Do they need a second place overall finish in the rally if maximum points is what they're staring at as things stand right now? Depends if we're appealing to the rally driver or the businessman in Matthew Hurst, because that's two very different mindsets, isn't it, to get your head around. I reckon he's on a push. He's been on a push from the start. That's why he's got no rear bumper on that Delta Auto Salvage Skoda Fabia Rally 2. Just again nudging the bank, but not enough, and not at the wrong point of the corner to scrub off really any speed. Just nudging the car back onto line, a bit like you see in Sweden with the snowbanks there. It's big and it's soft enough that they can just ride up a little bit and just use it to just put the car back into shape. But it was Elliot Payne who went right up it, didn't he? And I think he landscaped it a bit for the following cruise. Bonnie, that's the moment, isn't it, as a co-driver, and I have been there, where you think it's all going wrong. You're not really looking up. You're down on the notes, aren't you, on a hairpin like this, and then the car goes up in the air and you think, oh, here we go, and you're waiting for it. Yeah,
especially this corner. I always knock side to side my head in the seat because there is some bumps and stuff as you're going round, and it just goes up a little bit as you go round the corner. So it's not the easiest of hairpins to do. So I think Matthew lost a bit of time there. Just fractions, but I think Elliot lost the most compared to Matthew, I think.
I would agree with that. Elliot rode the bank entirely. James Ford on the limiter in that C3 Rally 2. We don't often hear these cars being driven on the limiter. It's not where the maximum torque is, but clearly for this hairpin, James just wanted maximum grunt, didn't he, out of the hairpin, and was absolutely on the limiter out of there. Fabulous sounding things, and I said it earlier and I'll say it again, I make no apologies for it. James is always spectacular. Doesn't matter where he is on the leaderboard. Today he's 8th overall and he is 4th in the BTRDA Championship Cruise, but he's just as spectacular as if he was fighting for the victory today. Not something he will be doing, and that won't go down very well. Is he 7th overall, is he? Coming, oh, 7th, sorry, yeah. Rory Young in 8th overall, isn't it? But 4th in the BTRDA Cruise. Crucially. There he is. Getting it all out of shape. Just couldn't get the car set up, carried a bit too much speed. Initially looked like he was going to try and sort of fling it round on a bit of a wide line, but the loose gravel and mud that's been sort of built up on the outside doesn't allow you to do that here, so it just pushes the car back on you, and he just couldn't get it round neatly. Not a huge, I was going to say not a huge amount of jeopardy in that for Rory, but actually, as far as the overall leaderboard is concerned, bearing in mind he is not registered for BTRDA points, so I won't be thinking, well, I'll settle for the points for the championship. He is only 4 seconds behind James Ford, so actually, scrap that. A lot of jeopardy in that moment for Rory. There he is, the hard-charging B13 Evo. Oh, ever so out of shape. Coming into there, showing just how fast he was coming in and how hard he was pushing through there, Russ Thompson. Yeah, he's actually missing on my leaderboard, is Russ, which is, there's no 6th place at all on my leaderboard. Look, it's just gone. Yeah.
19 seconds.
How bizarre that I haven't got 6th place on my leaderboard. But yeah, Russ Thompson. Colin Minton wasn't showing on the leaderboard earlier. Now it's Russ Thompson. Just being ghosted on the BTRDA rallyresults.co.uk. Danny and Pinky on the side of the car. Daniel Sigurdarsson, Asta Sigurdartir. Clearly enjoying their adventure in that new Skoda. It almost looks like when you see the WRC cars in test colours. Brand new Rally 2 or R5 car in plain white looks exceptionally good, doesn't it? Minty fresh, producer Wayne. Not the day that Callum Black would have been looking forward to today, nor the one that we were perhaps expecting. Took a convincing victory in the Bronze Star when he came out as a one of outing on gravel on the Malcolm Wilson last year in the Super 1400 Swift that Steve Black hasn't actually been through in, has he? He was on the retirements list as well, the 2nd time here today. But in this Rally 2 Fiesta, well, not this one, this is Liam. Callum, having had such a stonking performance on the asphalt that he's riding stages, just hasn't managed to pull it together. He's 13th overall on the leaderboard at the minute. Liam, who you just saw through there, Liam Clark, he's currently 10th. Carl Williamson alongside. A bit of a scrappy day for Liam as well. He'll be a little bit, if we were to speak to him after the rally, which we won't get the chance to do, I should imagine Liam would be quite self-reflective about today. A few little mistakes here and there, and that's what I was speaking to him at the end of last season. That's what he was trying to get rid of. He was trying to just sort of dial out those little scrappy areas. But it's the first rally of the season, and it's a heck of a leaderboard. The pressure coming into this for a young driver looking to prove themselves is immense. And Liam puts a lot of pressure on himself as well. Switching co-driver for this first round as well. The pressure on there with such experience. Sat alongside you, there is our Asphalt Rally champion. Showing the prowess that we would expect Callum Black to have, but the stage times just haven't followed it today. I don't know if we've had any issues there. I would suspect we have. 13th position on the leaderboard is not where you expect to see Callum Black in a Rally 2 Fiesta. But spectacular as ever into there, and you could see he was going to carry that speed in, couldn't you? Just had that look about it, didn't it? There was no lurching, was there? Elliot's car set up very soft for these corners. You notice that with Elliot's car more than any of the other Rally 2 cars. It lurches forward on acceleration, the front end up in the air, and then on the brakes, it just, the suspension travel does its thing and it dives down. Yeah, stage 6 then for Callum was the stage. Perida Davies alongside. So they had an issue in stage 6, which is what cost them the time from this morning. Not where we'd expect Callum. He will be frustrated with that. But I do hope that doesn't dampen his enthusiasm, because I would quite like to see a BTRDA rally season with Callum Black fighting in it. Dan O'Brien, Mark Glenister, up onto the bank there. Came back in the WRC Fiesta last year. And here he is in the Rally 2 car and right up on the bank. Yeah, as I was saying, I really hope that doesn't dampen Callum's enthusiasm. He is sort of, he's got his eye on every avenue at the minute. Does he focus on the BRC, on the Asphalt Championship, on this? Does he combine his focus? He's got another baby on the way this season. So he's really got to think hard about what to do, and I do worry that a result like this might dampen his enthusiasm a little bit. I hope not. Derek Kearns, Mark Preston alongside. It's probably the neatest line we've seen through there actually today. The wildest was definitely Callum. Elliot a close second. And remember what I said earlier as well. Elliot didn't look fast when he was Larry, but he was. Fastest of all equal, in fact. It wasn't a huge amount to be made up beyond those first two. I haven't got the times in yet. We've got Myron or Gary. Have we on the overall leaderboard yet? We have. Gary Pearson provisionally takes the overall victory here at the Malcolm Wilson Rally. 1 second ahead of Myron Evans. You see John Crawford and Josh Davison. Neat and tidy from them. Oh, Myron Evans will be absolutely gutted not to give his Yaris Rally 2 its first victory here on UK soil. The other Yaris has done quite a lot of winning. Myron would quite like to have had his first one, but Gary will be delighted to have got back to winning ways ahead of the next round of the BRC, of course, using our Protyre Autocare BTRDA Rally Series as a bit of a testing ground, a bit of a proving ground. And you know, why not? Some of the competitors we have here in the BTRDA have certainly given them a big push for their money today, haven't they? Matthew Hurst then, Declan Deere, just dropping back ever so slightly. 10 seconds was the gap going into this final stage. They leave the Lake District 14 seconds back in third overall, but crucially for them, a maximum point score in the BTRDA Rally Series. The one that has so far got away, as you see James Giddings and Alan Davies talking about getting away. They got away with that, didn't they? We saw the Stuart Irvine, Mark Irvine in the Hyundai 5 last year, stuck on that bank there. Right, Jack Morton, thank you for that, Jack. Callum's regular co-driver, confirming that the boost pipe came off on stage 6 for Callum. That is why Callum Black is so far down the order from where we would expect him to be. Damage limitation then for the Asphalt champion. Jack, perhaps you could confirm for us whether we're looking at a gravel campaign for you guys this season as well as an asphalt campaign, and obviously the BRC one. Alan Carmichael, another man yet to make his mind up and show us exactly what the plans are for the season. Michael Gilby alongside for this run. Bonnie, you've been inside that car as well. That's a fast seat.
Yeah, Alan can drive the door handles off these cars. He's an incredible driver, and he knows he's got his own setup, which is quite different from the other drivers. And that's the thing with rally, and you're not just racing against each other. You have to mould with the car. You and the car must become one, and then that's how you can really find a flow. And
he'll have been on the 34mm restrictor when you were in the car with him, was he as well, on the faster restrictor? I don't think he was in the 32. I think he was on the 34. So. So provisionally then, Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere do take a victory here in the BTRDA today. As you see, Dan Hyans, nicely done in the S2000 Turbo Fiesta, the ATM Motorsport car. Yeah, Matthew Hurst, third overall, fastest time through the stage at the moment. Yes, Elliot's time just dropping through, and a matched stage time yet again. Elliot Payne and Gary Pearson, a 6:50. Showing Elliot was doing everything he could to make up that gap. It was a smaller gap than I thought it was earlier as well, because I was reading the wrong line on the results. I was on the overall, not the time from previous. Carl White has seen on his debut here in the BTRDA just how tough the competition here is in the UK's premier gravel rally championship. But I would say a solid first day on the gravel for the young driver, who we're delighted to see fighting here in the championship this season. So confirmation then that Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere take victory here in the Protyre Autocare BTRDA Rally Series. It was a 17-second gap coming into this stage for Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh, not the 27-second gap that I mentioned earlier. And they did take 4 out of Hurst and Deere, did Elliot and Patrick. It's a 13-second gap by the end of the rally. Not easy or convincing by any stretch. It bodes well for a good battle this season, but it does confirm what we were already saying. As you see Trevor Gamble and Phil Kenny taking a ride up Elliot's bank there. Or is it James Gidding's bank? I'm not sure who's gone further up it yet. A few people have been over it, I noticed, from this morning. I don't know who they were. Yeah, it does bode well for a fantastic battle, though, because Elliot will not want to let this one slip away, I'm pretty sure. And we did. It confirms what we knew, that Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere would absolutely show us their true colours if everything came together at this first round, and that is the pace that we have been looking for and we knew was there. They haven't had the luck in previous seasons. This is the one that got away. Multiple Welsh rally champions. They want a BTRDA Gold Star title to their names, and this could be their year. They've certainly opened the books as a title challenger here in the first round. There's a long way to go yet. But have they given us a bit of a sign of things to come? As Ian Joel and Mark Twynham give us a sign of things that were with that ever so 90s Escort Cosworth anti-lag. Bit of a twitch up the bank for them as well. Russ Thompson, so far, putting in a time on the leaderboard to put him third in the BTRDA registered crews. Daniel Sigurdsson, Asta Sigurdottir not appearing there in my top 5, which surprises me. So at the moment, Russ Thompson, Stephen Link showing his third place. Only 9 seconds ahead of that hard-charging Citroen C3 Rally 2. James Ford and Neil Shanks as well. Tell you what, we're getting a bit scrappy towards this end of the day, aren't we? Is everyone just getting a bit tired, do we think? James McCarville. A number of crews to throw at the bank today. Rick Sutcliffe has said, Bonnie, who are you doing the Manx with? Are you doing the Manx? You don't know, or you know? Are you being cagey? Oh no, she's not doing the Manx, so she's available if you need her to do the Manx. Home rally, it would be rude not to be out, wouldn't it, on the rally? Yeah. Simon Bevins enjoyed himself today. Good to have you with us. Nathan Shaw, MRF tyres livery looks so good in the Hyundai. It does, doesn't it? And I was excited when I saw Carl White announce his plans for the season and announce the BTRDA as his battleground of choice. I think he'll get quicker. It'll take him a bit of time to find his feet. Patrick Naylor, Ian Lawrence came 4th overall on last year's championship. They were 3rd B13. And they look at being 2nd B13 today, I think, aren't they, at the moment? Henry Cookson saying, oops, that could have been to any one of the last few cars up and down there, couldn't it? What special stage? Oh, someone asking what the BTRDA. I love the fact that Kev's been having a barbecue party today. We had our first barbecue last Sunday night. It was glorious. That's Jamie McBain, Spark Developments, boss man. Been working hard on the minis that you will see announced and revealed, hopefully later this week, Jamie, if they're both ready. That myself and Julia Perry and Ben Higgins and Carl Williamson will be competing in under the Spark Developments banner at the Alan Healy Memorial Rally at Cadwell Park on the 6th of April. Not very far away. Very excited about that. And the brand new look event with different use of the paddock area of the venue as well for the stages is very interesting. Michael Jenkins watching along with us. Michael Jenkins made me do it, hashtag. Rick Sutcliffe says he's in with Dave Sutcliffe on the Manx. First event in the same car, he can't wait. That's Kevin Carr watching with us. Simon Bevan also saying well done to the Marshals. I'll echo that. It is a learning curve as well for Alex Vassallo. And Harry Walshaw in that Rally 2 Fiesta. A very different beast from the DS3 R5 that we saw them in last time out on the Anglo-Caledonian Rally. But another new challenger here in the BTRDA. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how they get on. It's very much a Manx theme to the conversation today on Special Stage. I guess that's because you're here, Bonnie. Yeah, so you haven't this year. You had a full campaign last couple of seasons. That season, and particularly 2023, like you were almost on every rally we did. So you're just sort of slowing back in the pace off a bit just to focus on the art a bit more. Is that it at the start of the season?
Yeah, just focus on the fine things with the co-driving at the moment, making sure everything is tip-top before I go into a new event.
New adventures away. Only available. I'm very used to co-driving on different levels of the sport, right up to Rally 2, if you do need somebody for a one-off or a campaign outing. Robert Adamson, Owen Patterson in that Polo Rally 2. New crew I haven't seen out competing before, not registered for points, so we won't see them that often this year. To Aileen Forrest saying, Russ Thompson is a legend in an Evo. He is. He's very entertaining, isn't he? Andy Pick pointing out that in the BRC, Evans is on Pirellis, Myron Evans, that is, Crichton on Michelin's. So they're running different tyres, but that will be, I'm sure, their choice. So I'm not sure we'd add that to their book of rally driver excuses. Myron just taking a bit of time to get up to speed, and of course he sees the bills when they come in at the end of the rally. So Chris Ingram and Will Crichton now in the leading Yaris just get to get in a car and drive off at the end of the event. Myron's got to load the cars back up and take them back to the workshop, and he has got the small issue of working out the bills, which must play into it a little bit. John McElraith, Heather Grisdale on her local event in the Subaru. Andrew Jousey on YouTube pointing out that the Escort WRC sounded lovely. It did, didn't it? Susan, I love how you can hear them roaring up through the canyon. Canyon, that's a good way of describing it. I like that. Yeah, I think that's an Americanism, isn't it? But I like that. I'm going to use that. Another day in the canyon. Love it. Paul on YouTube, missing it now. It's been over 2 years. Every time I did the Malcolm Wilson, it was horrible and wet. Today looks fantastic. Every time I've done it, it's been horrible and wet, but it's never horrible, just wet. Craig Jones and James Howe joining us in the championship this year for the first time. British Rally Media lads joining us on YouTube. Hello to you guys. Martin Dixon is following the Escort Cosworth with interest today. Did several fabulous years with Ian in his TR8 and in Escorts as well. Ian Joel, that is. Alfinique UK. The missing having the rally down here in Exmoor. Maybe one day the Somerset stages will return. You know what? We were talking about this and we talk about it quite often actually. The red mud of Somerset. I was sneezing red dust for days after a trip to Somerset. There's a picture of, I think is it Luke Francis or Pat Naylor with the dust, and I'm basically just emerging from the dust like a ghost. We used to love that when the start and finish was at Butlins in Minehead as well. And a quiet taste, of course, Butlins, but a great place for a rally finish. Yeah, we used to love the Somerset stages with the Paulock Toll Road as well, very Oliver's Mount. Steve Pawson, Liam Whiteley only joined us at the Malcolm Wilson Rally and retired last season. So we've lost. Oh, that's a real shame. We've had the first of our Bannisters through, but John Bannister and Emma Clark, who were going so well earlier, joining us for a championship campaign, which they haven't done previously here in the Protyre Autocare BTRDA Rally Series, have pulled in with no brakes just before they got to us, which will explain one of the gaps that we just had here in Greystoke. Susan is from the US. I love Canyon though, that's brilliant. I'm going to use that. You'll hear me using that, Susan, on future live shows. I'll tell them that you gave me it. Paul and Liz are having a conversation with Susan about the English Chevette HSR. Better than the US version, apparently. Everyone loving, as you see, woodgutting. Everyone loving the Gallant. G is watching from Alberta in Canada. Good to have you with us. Furthest travelled award goes to you today so far. Ian Lloyd has enjoyed watching the coverage today. Good to have you with us. Lee Stant, loving seeing all the escorts out on the stage. Do you know what? Wayne sent me a link to a European rally, I can't remember which rally it was now, entry earlier in the week, and was it Luke Harvey wasn't it? And honestly, the Escort was about the rarest car on it. It was a historic rally in Europe, and there must have been 3 Escorts on it or something. Mad, the variety of cars, and I think that's what will happen here. I think we'll keep the Escorts, of course. We have such a strong contingent and industry for fast Escorts in this country, which is wicked. But we'll add the other cars in as well, I think, especially the Group A, which is coming. The Historics have got to move on, just like when we moved from H1, H2 to H3 and H4. It will come. Alan Dixon, Martin Forrest, another crew to just ride up the bank just a little bit. David Teeves. Okay, what have I missed? Well, where do we start with that one? Lots of rally cars going very sideways and sounding great coming through the canyon. That's what you missed. That red Escort WRC is a car that Paul and Liz have worked, or Paul, I think it is, has worked on several years ago, according to Scott on YouTube. I love that. Do you know what? If you buy a Rally 2 Fiesta from M Sport and they leave the Safari spec on, you leave it on, don't you? That's cool. That's just so cool. George Vasilakis, Alan Harriman with the Safari spec Fiesta Rally 2, clearly expecting a little much from the conditions today, which really didn't materialise. I tell you what, if I'd have seen that car at scrutineering last night, I'd have been ever so worried about the conditions expected for today. I'd have been checking the weather forecast again, that is for sure. But the rally nerd in me loves to see it, and it does look a bit jacked up as well, doesn't it? I think it's literally just full Safari spec. We don't have the ball guards on the front of them anymore these days, but the snorkel is anything but subtle. Niall Devine, Liam McIntyre, again another crew joining us for their first BTRDA Championship campaign, opening their account here at the first round, the Malcolm Wilson Rally. Thanks to all of you for getting involved on the various live streams. You are, as I mentioned earlier, entered automatically into our draw to win one of the Rallying is Life Money Can't Buy special stage hats. Producer Wayne, before I mention our special features that are coming up, when are they coming up? Have we got a launch date for our special stage legend features yet?
Going for Wednesday for Mike.
Okay, guys, this is big. We've been working on something for over a year now. We first filmed this at the BTRDA Gravel Awards in 2024 for the 2023 season, so it'll have been January last year. And we filmed a very honest, very frank account of rallying over the years with the legendary president of the BTRDA, Mike Broad, co-driver to Russell Brooks, Tony Pond, and a number of others back in the golden years of rallying. And at points it's emotional, it's eye-opening, and it's just wonderful. and I can't wait to share it with you. Rob and Ash Aslet through in the Subaru. Nice and neat from them. So do look out on the special stage page this Wednesday. It will be on specialstage.tv as well if you're not on social media per se. It's a very special feature. What are we calling these features, Wayne? It's been a long time since we discussed this and agreed it all.
Rally stories.
Calling them rally stories. I wanted to call it rally tales, but Wayne thought that sounded a bit like we were making them up. So as I do that week in, week out, Mark Constantine will appreciate that comment today, because I've made a few tales up about his lads, haven't I, today, unwittingly. We're calling it rally stories, and it's a special one. So do look out on Wednesday. Obviously, I will be sharing it if you follow me on social media, and it will be on the special stage page. So looking forward to that. The second feature will be Phil Collins. Equally frank and honest, and eye-opening in ways that you wouldn't expect. And I'm not even going to give you a teaser there, because it'll spoil the surprise and it won't enlighten you whatsoever as to what's to come, because it's just such a bizarre tangent we went off at one point, which was brilliant and we loved it. Phil, a real national treasure in rallying, and another guest that we are delighted to be able to bring you a really in-depth feature with in the next few weeks on special stage. But look out on Wednesday for the first of our Rally Stories features with BTRDA president and co-driving hero, and I don't use that word lightly, Mike Broad. The sun just coming down and the temperature dropping ever so slightly here in the afternoon. Here, isn't it, in the Lake District? It's still nice and warm though. It's just not as hot as it was, as summery as it was earlier in the day, but we'll take it, I think. Chris Boyle says, drop him a message, Bonnie, if you're interested in a seat for the Manx. Sounds like Chris has an idea up his sleeve. Mike Jenkins, loving the snorkel. Michael, I want to see a snorkel on your Fiesta for the next round, or perhaps we could have a snorkel on Colin Minton's Fiesta. It's a wave there from Jordan Joins. Maybe it was Colin Minton waving, and that's how he ended up driving up the bank there. Colin, stop waving and change gear, man. I still haven't.
Looks like he's got a drive shaft there.
Yeah, I think he has got a problem. Maybe drive shaft or something, having gone up that bank. Shouldn't have waved. I still haven't dared to click on that QR code just in case the picture that I sent to Michael Jenkins last night has made it on there, because Michael is controlling what's behind the QR code. He could have some fun with that, but I suspect with Colin being the boss, he probably won't have as much fun as he could do. But hashtag Michael Jenkins made me do it. Colin's promised me one of those stickers. I actually thought he was slowing down to give me it there. Ian Park says the hats will be along very soon. What hats, Ian? I don't know what you mean. Elwyn Pritchard says he's spectating and servicing on the Manx for a change. Well, depending on how the servicing goes, you might not be doing that much spectating. Manx crews tend to, or crews doing the Manx tend to keep you quite busy in service. I note over the years, Michael Jenkins, I'm not as brave as you. We'll see at Cadwell Park, Jenkins. We'll see how brave we are. Are you doing Cadwell Park? I think you're doing Cadwell, aren't you? It's a one-off. Did someone tell me that? Or am I making that up? I don't know what I'm doing. Making out like I'm some kind of real rally driver. I'm not. Mark Mugmin, Dick Wardle, clearly with some issues there. Sorry, Ian Park's talking about the bowlers, the hats. Oh, the hats, right. Okay, I see. Very good, very poetic. It's late in the day. It's been a long day. I wasn't getting that, was I? The hats. I like it. Almost as good as Susan on YouTube telling me that the cars sound great coming through the canyon. So to recap then, Matthew Hurst, Declan Deer open their Protyre Autocare BTRDA Rally Series account for 2025 with a maximum point score here at the opening round. The Malcolm Wilson Rally has delivered everything that they have told us was coming. Pace, a good battle and the ability to manage the event with Elliot Payne and Patrick Walsh, our three-time and reigning champion, hounding them, looming ominously, metaphorically speaking, in the rearview mirror. A 13-second gap, just as ominous for Hurst and Deer, and a statement from Elliot that they're not going to have it all their own way. He will be there. Russ Thompson, Stephen Link have been fast all day today, but they drop back to fourth. Daniel Sigurdsson, Asta Sigurdottir, as I thought earlier, have indeed taken a podium here at the opening round of the championship. As you see, Johan Ingi Filkson, Heide Karen Filkersdottir in the Evo 9. Rounding things off for us in the regular field, we've just got the hats, the bowler hats, like it, Ian, to come next for a last bit of action today. Producer Wayne just pulled a funny face. Are you okay, mate?
He's just properly overshot there, mate.
Has he overshot, has he? Okay. James Ford, Neil Shanks, just behind the Evo of Russ Thompson in 5th place. Good haul of points for the top 5 today. David Henderson, Will Atkins show a clean pair of heels to everybody else in the Silver Star and the Historic Cup here in the BTRDA today at the opening round. Lewis Hooper, Rhys Edwards take the R2 Rally Cup, and with it 2nd place in the Silver Star. It's Jeff Phelps and Clive Jones in 3rd, and Nathan Weirden and Benjamin Watts show us perhaps a glimpse of what's to come with that Hyundai F2. I'm hoping for a full campaign from that pair. I think they're going to give us some magic this year. 4 seconds behind, taking 7. A second per mile, just under, in this final stage out of Jeff Phelps to try and make onto the podium on their debut in the F2 Hyundai. Not quite making it, but giving us a special presentation along the way. Tom Constantine, Tony Walker in the Opel Adam R2. Strong performance from them. First time here on the gravel in the Adam R2 to take 5th in the Silver Star. And the Bronze Star gave us a fantastic battle to open things up with. I know that Nigel and Kaz Jenkins would quite like it to be an easy drive into the park. It's not going to be. 2nd place for them today, 2 seconds back, our reigning and double Bronze Star champions behind Dylan Fowler-Bishop and Dan Evans in the year of the Micro, which 2025 very definitely is. The first round and the first blood here in the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star category in the BTRDA goes to a Micro. It's Dylan Fowler-Bishop and Dan Evans leading the way home in the Bronze Star here at the Malcolm Wilson Rally for the first round of the championship. Ashley Francis Adams, Mark Ammons in the Micro behind the Jenkins pair in 3rd place, making it 2 Micros in the top 3 in the Fuchs Lubricants Bronze Star. Dale Glover, David Smalley finally get some reliability and some pace to come 4th place, under a minute back as well from the top 3 in the Bronze Star. More to come from them this season, but we've seen a glimpse of it now, and the car, hopefully, finally reliable. Geraint Williams, Liam Jones, strong performance from them. 5th place in the Bronze Star today. Great battle out in front as well, and to have our leading BTRDA protagonist, Matthew Hurst, out there chasing down the top pair overall. Some spectacle. Gary Pearson, congratulations to him and to Hannah McKillop and to Myron Evans as well, who put in a strong performance today. Not the performance he would have wanted going into the final stage of the day on the overall leaderboard in an equal overall time. But he and Dale Furness can be pleased with that performance, and it certainly sets them up well for the next round of the BRC at the Carlisle stages, the first time on gravel this season. So 1 more car in the stage, and then we get the bowlers through to round things off for today's live shows. We hope you've enjoyed joining us, and we hope that you will continue to support and follow the Protyre AutoCAD BTRDA Rally Series this season. I think we've done enough. Both the drivers, especially the drivers and co-drivers on the stages, and us here at Special Stage to, if you've only joined us for the first time, prove to you that you need to put a reminder in your calendars to join us for the rest of the championship as well. And we very much look forward to seeing you next time out on our coverage as well, which will be on the Manx Rally next month. It'll be here before we know it. But here in the Gravel Series, the Border Counties, the Brick and Steel Border Counties Rally is up next in Scotland on the 10th of May. From there, we go to the Nicky Grist stages. Fingers crossed it will run with the problems that we've had in the Welsh forests. I know a lot of work is going on behind the scene, and a very heartfelt thank you to everybody who's been working hard to overcome those issues. We hope to be on the Nicky Grist stages. From there, it's the New Look Woodpecker Rally, so introduced last year in its new format. Then it's Track Rod Rally Yorkshire, my home rally. Looking forward to that one before we head to the Cambrian Rally, which traditionally has been our season closer, but this year we're coming back up to the Lake District for the Copper Mines, Lakes, Cottages, Grisdale Stages Rally on the 4th of December. And that is where and when the Protyre AutoCAD BTRDA Rally Series will conclude. But who will be at the top of our category leaderboards and who will be our overall BTRDA champion in 2025? I'll give you only one guarantee. You've seen them in action today. Unless, of course, we get some very strong contenders for the championship joining us at round 2 and then or round 3, and then perhaps we haven't seen them today. But I reckon we've seen our champions today. It was certainly a champion's drive from Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere, wasn't it? They've just got to get the results and the look to match that and string that together into a championship winning campaign, haven't they? Thank you to everyone joining us at home. If you got involved on the live coverage, even just a comment tells us where you're watching from, you are in the draw. Even more, Tony McHugh. There we go. We did think that we'd have a car in the ditch today, didn't we? And so we have. It was a Hyundai last year that went in the ditch. It's a 2.4 litre Fiesta in the ditch today. No real damage done there. Very bit of pride. And definitely some frustration. Last car on the entry coming through. And they're going to be here for a bit of time yet. The Marshals are going to do their thing now, and we're going to see a bit of magic. I'll let you see the Marshals do their thing now. That's not coming out of there. It's 4-wheel drive, but it needs to be 8-wheel drive, doesn't it, to get that car out of there, just before the bowlers come round as well. This section of the stage doesn't disappoint from an action point of view, but we did think we'd managed to clear it, didn't we, there? Stephen and Tony just going to put the OK board out. A bit of confusion with the Marshals as to whether or not the bowlers are being held, but I don't think that's coming out. So if you have tuned in late to any of the coverage today, you can re-watch all of the action. It remains on the page that you're watching on, and it will be on specialstage.tv for you to watch. And indeed, if you want to recap on any of the action from the previous season, you can watch it on there, and all of the coverage from this year on Special Stage will be at specialstage.tv, available there and on Facebook and YouTube. And a final reminder to look out for our special feature on Wednesday, the life and story in rallying of BTRDA President Mike Broad. If you know Mike, you probably have a feeling of what's coming. If you don't know Mike, you're going to know him very well by the end of it, and you'll probably classify him, as I do, as a rally hero. I'm pretty sure we're going to get some bowlers through here. There's always a little bit of back and forth from the start line marshals to the scene of the incident to make sure it's safe to pass. It is safe to pass, though, we know that. So as you can see, they've positioned, or you can't see, but I can see they've positioned a marshal further down the road just to help with the warning to the drivers coming in and the bowlers that there is a car stricken at the side of the stage. Of our valued marshals asking if he's in the way. No, he's part of the story now. Welcome to Greystoke, gents. It can bite at times. It's not just Kielder that has the killer ditches. Bit of late action there, Bonnie. Have you got any more info on who you're going to be doing this 12 car with at M Sport on Monday?
Nope. I wish I did, but because being a co-driver, we always like to prepare, so it's never fun going in a bit blind.
Well, you'd have to take your co-driver's hat off now and become a navigator, because you're a navigator once you get into the lanes on the maps.
Yeah, they're a different breed than people that go into the lanes. They're bonkers. Even the stage rally boys and girls, the way how they pedal the cars and call all the notes, it's quite phenomenal. So I'm very lucky to be able to compete in rallying and be a part of it.
Well, Bonnie Papa will be temporarily hanging up her co-driver's hat and picking up a map and becoming a navigator on Monday at M Sport for the Motorsport UK Academy 12 car, which I think is a great idea, actually. Get our young, talented co-drivers out in the lanes and give them, for those who haven't already had it, a feel for where the sport started and how it got to where it is. Phil Bramwell sending me a message just identifying the characters currently on your screen. That's Neil Evans down the stage, as he says. Gary Marriott, John Chamberlain, Andy Marchbank, all marshalling on that corner. Wallasey Motor Club boys. Up the Wallasey Motor Club massive. Look at that. There we are. And they've had a bit of late action as well to have to get involved and do their job and do their thing. They're now focused on making it safe for the bowlers to come through and finish the stage. Hello to Neil James, watching the coverage, organising the Kath Curzon Memorial Rally at the end of the month at Pembrey, organised by Port Talbot Motor Club. If you fancy a run out at Pembrey, get your entry in for that one. I think they're still looking and accepting invitations, applications for marshals as well. A lot of respect for anybody who organises rallies. An awful lot of work goes into it behind the scenes. We see the kind of cream on top that happens when everything else has been done right. Say again, Bonnie. Was that for camera or not?
And me.
Are you doing the Kath Curzon?
Yes, hopefully.
Who are you doing that with? Can you say?
Yeah, I'll be with Jack Robinson.
Of course, it's in the juniors championship, isn't it? Cadwell coming up, is it Border?
I don't think so.
You'd know about it, wouldn't you? If it would, it was. It's next month, so you'd know, I think. So what else do you're doing the Motorsport UK Academy for the second year, you and Robbie Sanford, both of you. What do you get out of it that you can get out for the second year running?
So I think this year it's going to be tailored a bit more to us, so there'll be time set apart to review on boards and see where we can improve.
And who's doing that with you? Who are the experienced people working with you as co-drivers to kind of hone your craft?
So we have some of the best co-drivers. We've got Paul Spooner, Nicky Grist and Seb Marshall as well. So we really are in good hands.
You really are in good hands indeed. Paul Spooner indeed, a former champion here in the BTRDA. Phil's pointing out that the Marshals weren't pushing. They were trying to push the car, Phil. They couldn't get it out. It was too far in. Phil Bramwell would have been all over it. In fact, from what I know about Phil Bramwell, he'd dropped the camera and everything else, and the live stream would have come second to getting that car out of the ditch, much to Phil's credit. And much to Wayne Goldring's frustration watching from the studio if it were to happen. Sorry, I'm not doing a very good job of covering what's going on here, am I? But the bowlers appear on your leaderboard. They weren't on mine, I think. Not in a separate category. Sorry, I got so excited with that little bit of drama late on there that I didn't go back and recap on the bowler leaderboard for you. For those of you following that. One thing I am disappointed today with is that we haven't had a chance to see that Rover SD1 of Chris Hopkins. I was really looking forward to seeing that through. It would have been a real treat. I haven't seen it yet. I saw it at the Motorist before it was used in anger just after it had been finished, and it was a absolutely glorious machine. Gutted for Chris. But, yeah, if you will go into a dance with these British Leyland machines, they will every now and again show you a bit of the 70s. And it has been very 70s today. So we haven't seen it. Looking forward to seeing it in action sooner rather than later, hopefully, though. If you have been following the bowlers so far, David Beecroft, Fraser Parish, who you've already seen through, were leading the way. It's Miles Williams, Michael Kerfoot alongside, currently second in the Bowler Defender Owners Rally Challenge. Not anymore organised by JLR or funded by JLR, but M&C Projects now running that challenge. The same people, the same faces behind the scenes, I understand. Quite tight between the next two, Daniel Beecroft and David Lapsley, on an identical overall time after the last Grisdale stage. So coming into this final stage will not want to be slowing down. That's the last thing that you want, because there's no delta for it. If you slow down a bit more than your fellow competitor, or they do vice versa on an identical time, that could decide it. So third place currently up for grabs. And actually Mark, sorry, no, not Mark McMinn, he's not in a bowler. Daniel Hutchings is a further 31 seconds back from the podium positions. John Marshall, Craig Wallace, the last of the bowlers.
Is that the last one? There's 6 of them.
Last of the bowlers coming through now. Marshall's doing a good job of keeping things safe. It's a slow corner. John Marshall, Craig Wallace, the last of the bowlers, in rounding out the leaderboard there. And indeed, bringing you the last of the action from Greystoke and from the Malcolm Wilson rally here at the opening round of the Protyre Autocare BTRDA Rally Series. Bonnie, you are doing the Motorsport UK Academy Monday, Tuesday at M Sport, and it's all about PR and media. Was this a good little bit of preparation for you?
Yes, it was. It's always good fun hanging out with you, and very entertaining, and it's amazing to see what goes on behind the scenes. Seeing how you and Special Stage operate is really good, because my family at home watch this when I'm rallying on the stages, so it's brilliant to see how it works.
And also seeing how we get it wrong, because that wasn't the last polo on the stage. Indeed, this one is the last polo on the stage. Daniel Hutchings, David Hutchings. And if you are interested, keep an eye on the BTRDA rallyresults.co.uk website to see how that podium is shaped up after this final stage, with absolutely nothing in it going into the final 7.5 miles of Greystoke. Thank you for joining us today for our live shows from the opening round of the BTRDA Rally Series. I think you will agree that what we've seen today sets us up for a thrilling season. 6 more rounds to go, an awful long way to go, until we arrive back here in the Lake District for the Grisdale stages at the beginning of December. It will go by in a flash, so make the most of it. We'll see you next on the island. We're going to one of the most formidable rallies on any rally calendar. It's the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship up next at the Manx. See you then. For now, thanks for watching.